Imagine this, the year is 1717. A storm tears across the Caribbean Sea. A ship creaks under the weight of rain and rage. On deck, men shout orders, muskets flash, and the black flag rises, the skull and crossbones. A pirate ship, a floating rebellion against the world. But behind the adventure, beyond the gold and rum, there's a deeper question. Why did men choose this? Why did thousands abandon land, family, and safety to live as outlaws on floating coffins, where death came faster than the wind? This is not just a story of pirates. It's a story about the human condition, about the darkness that grows when a man loses hope, freedom, and purpose. It's the pirate mindset, a life worse than death, but chosen willingly. The world that made pirates. Before we talk about pirates, let's talk about the world that created them. The early 1700s, the Golden Age of Piracy. Empires ruled the seas: Britain, Spain, France. They sent ships across oceans to steal, conquer, and trade human lives. But beneath those grand empires were men, poor, forgotten, used like disposable tools. Sailors were paid almost nothing. They were beaten, starved, whipped for the smallest mistake. Disease, scurvy, storms, half never made it back. And when they did, their pay was often stolen by the captain or the crown. They were nothing but numbers, replaceable, invisible. So when a pirate ship appeared on the horizon, it wasn't just an enemy. It was an idea. A dangerous, intoxicating promise. You don't have to obey, you can take what you deserve. Many sailors didn't resist pirates, they joined them. They traded a cruel system for chaos, and that's where the pirate mindset begins. Freedom at a terrible price. When a sailor became a pirate, he didn't just change ships, he changed worlds. On a pirate ship, there were no kings, no captains with absolute power. Every man had a vote. Every man had a share. Even the captain could be replaced if the crew lost faith in him. It was, in many ways, the first form of democracy at sea. But that freedom came with a terrible price. The ocean didn't forgive. The law didn't forget. And every port they entered, every ship they attacked, pushed them closer to the noose. To be a pirate was to live knowing death was coming. Not if, but when. Sound cue. A noose tightening, faint heartbeat. Most pirates didn't live past 2 years. Many were hanged, their corpses left to rot as warnings. And yet, more men kept joining. Why? Because for some freedom, even brief, brutal freedom, is worth dying for. The psychology of the pirate mindset. To understand the pirate mindset, we need to look deeper than history. This is not just about rum and treasure. It's about psychology. A pirate's life was chaotic, violent, and short. But it offered 3 things most men were starved for: control, equality, purpose. Let's start with control. On naval ships, sailors had no power over their lives. A captain could whip them, starve them, or throw them overboard. But on a pirate ship, the crew chose their captain. They voted on decisions, they shared the loot. For the first time, these men felt like their lives belonged to them. And that feeling, after years of being powerless, can be addictive. Then comes equality. Race, background, or birth mattered little at sea. There were black pirates, freed slaves, escaped prisoners, and outcasts, all sharing the same rum, the same danger. On land, society told them they were nothing. On a pirate ship, they were brothers. And finally, purpose. For all its violence, piracy gave these men a reason to wake up. They weren't obeying, they were fighting back. They called it taking revenge on the world. A rebellion against kings, merchants, and hypocrisy. A life worse than death. But freedom without direction becomes self-destruction. Pirates were free, but they were cursed. Every sunrise was a gamble. Every friend could be the next traitor. Every victory brought the gallows closer. They lived like gods for a moment and died like animals. Some pirates, like Charles Vane, refused to surrender even when captured. He said, "I'd rather be hanged than live as a slave." He got his wish. But what's haunting is that, to him, slavery to the system was worse than death itself. This is where the pirate mindset becomes something tragic. It's not just defiance, it's desperation wearing the mask of freedom. When a man loses everything, respect, hope, purpose, he starts to believe that destruction is the only form of control left. That if he can't own his life, at least he can decide how it ends. That's the darkness at the heart of the pirate mindset. A man who would rather burn the world than be forgotten by it. Modern pirates, and why they still exist. You might think pirates died centuries ago, but the mindset never did. Look around. It exists in modern forms, not on ships, but in souls. The hacker who breaks into systems because the world gave him no place. The rebel who joins violent groups because he feels invisible. Even the man who self-destructs, burning bridges, jobs, and relationships, just to feel a moment of control. They're all driven by the same inner storm. If I can't win, I'll rewrite the rules. That's the modern pirate. A person choosing chaos because order never gave them mercy. The question is, why do we still romanticize pirates? Maybe because deep down, we envy that level of defiance. We all feel trapped sometimes, by jobs, expectations, or systems we can't control. The pirate reminds us that even in despair, there's still a choice. A dangerous one, but a choice nonetheless. The illusion of freedom. But here's the twist. The freedom pirates died for was never real. They escaped one master, only to be chained by another, their own hunger. Gold, revenge, power, these became new cages. Every rebellion, without direction, eventually eats itself. The pirate ship that began as a symbol of liberty often ended in betrayal. Crews turned on each other. Leaders grew paranoid. Greed rotted everything. It's the same pattern we see in modern times. People who break free from the system but lose themselves in the process. Freedom without purpose becomes destruction. And destruction, no matter how thrilling, always leads back to emptiness. That's why the pirate life was truly a life worse than death. Not because of the gallows, but because of what it did to the soul. The deeper message. So what do we take from this? The pirate mindset isn't just about history, it's a mirror. It shows what happens when people are stripped of dignity and meaning. When society offers no justice, rebellion becomes the only form of self-respect. When hope dies, chaos feels like freedom. But there's another lesson, one the pirates never lived long enough to learn. Asterisk asterisk real freedom isn't the absence of rules, pirates, the meaning never found. Real freedom isn't the absence of rules, it's the presence of meaning. The pirates believed they could escape tyranny by rejecting every form of order. But without purpose, their freedom became a void. They were free to kill, free to steal, free to die, yet never free to live with peace. Their ships roamed endlessly, not toward any destination, but away from one. They weren't sailing to something. They were running from something, from injustice, from emptiness, from themselves. And that's the tragedy of the pirate mindset. It mistakes motion for direction. A man can be constantly moving, constantly rebelling, constantly fighting, and still be lost. They believe that breaking the rules made them powerful. But real power is not in destroying the system. It's in building something better in its place. Freedom without creation is just another form of slavery, to rage, to greed, to fear. The sea within us. Every one of us carries a little ocean inside. A restless part that resists control. That questions authority. That wants to shout, I won't obey. It's not evil, it's human. We were never built to live chained to desks, screens, or systems that make us forget who we are. But what we do with that defiance determines whether it saves us or destroys us. You can silence the pirate within you, or you can listen to him. But if you listen, you must guide him. Because the same fire that burns ships can also light the way home.